very ordinary bowling as well from England. We'll come to that later, but in case you missed out on all the action that took place at the one kid, it was England who won the toss, asked South Africa to bat first. South Africa, well, saying had no problem, obliged to that particular decision, and ended up posting 399. Now, it may look like a big enough total, and it is, but this flat deck in Mumbai, you wonder if you're about 20 short, 30 short, 40 short, you really don't know, because there was this one point, especially after the 38th, 40th over, you look at how the graph really went up for South Africa, and the way both Marco Jansen and Klassen were striking the ball. Everything they almost touched, in fact, turned into a boundary. That's what it seemed. Would you agree, Shane?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, the way, and I think I dare say that the way Klassen was batting was the difference between, let's say, South Africa getting 350, which they looked on course for getting, and them reaching near the 400 mark. Because truth be told, I think England, obviously, they started off well. They got that early wicket of Quinton de Kock, but then after that, Risa Hendricks and it was Rassie van der Dussen got a very good partnership going. Thereafter, helped with a good knock by stand-in skipper Aiden Markram. And I think what England would have gotten majorly confident about was when they got Miller. But then Klassen waited, bided his time, and turned the fireworks on like crazy. At one point, it seemed like every shot, no matter what shot he was doing, he could close his eyes and just swing at the ball. And it was not just clearing the boundary, but clearing the boundary comfortably. It was phenomenal brute hitting. And England had actually pulled things back in the middle overs, but then that assault in the depth from Klassen and to an extent Marco Jansen, both absolutely took them very, very close. In fact, dare I say, I think if Gus Atkinson had not gotten rid of Klassen in the final over, it would have probably been 415. It would have been 415.
Definitely. And just a reminder, we're talking about, in the build-up to this match, we were talking about who the key players would be. And did we not talk about Henrik Klassen?
Absolutely.
We knew very well he was capable of doing that. And today looked in complete control. Of course, aided by the fact that there wasn't much an offer for the bowlers. This day, and all you had to do is play through the line. That's what made Klassen stand out. Even Markram was good. Marco Jansen was slow to begin with, but again, England in this chase would want to look at what Marco Jansen did. Again, didn't have a lot of runs, has been very ordinary with the ball also. So again, he didn't come into bat with a lot of confidence. Having said that, he didn't get off the blocks very quickly too. But once he got his eye in, everything he was smacking was only clearing the ropes. So perhaps England would want to adopt some, a similar sort of an approach, even though they have the firepower to chase this total down. England will definitely be tested over here. We've seen them, in the past as well, chase down these totals with rather ease. But it's not going to be that mean a task today is what I feel, because this is a side that is in desperate need of a win. Number one. Number two is the fact that they've not really been clicking as of now in the World Cup.
Exactly. I think if you look at their batting performances also, there's always been a few problems. I mean, for one, Johnny Bairstow hasn't come to the party at all. He's struggled in 3 games that they've played at this point. He needs a big knock. Other than that, also, you look at how some of their key players, so Josh Butler hasn't come to the party. Liam Livingston, before being dropped today to accommodate Harry Brook, haven't come to the party
Also,
at all.
a reminder, in that chase against Afghanistan, that first over wicket of Johnny Bairstow really rattled England over there.
Yeah.
Again, it just tells you how much they really bank on him, and today he will have a real big role to play if England are to grow anywhere close to this target. It is going to require every bit of skill that they possibly have in order to get to this total. They would want to take the attack on early in the power play, so the power play of course will be of huge significance, and that's where I think the South African bowlers will also be tested. They are, by the way, South Africa, and why I say this again and again is that this match, you look at the total, you think that okay, South Africa 9 times out of 10 are winning this, but remember, you're up against England, you're playing at 1 KD, and to top it all, you have a South African bowling lineup that is guilty of leaking runs, especially at the death. Now, if given England's firepower, this match does reach a point wherein South Africa are looking at, let's say, saving about 110, 120 runs. Also, let's say, right towards the end, given the record that they've had this particular World Cup, and given England's firepower, you never know if even that can be done.
Yeah, I think, see, with South Africa, the one thing they'll need consistently is wickets, because what there has been proven, and I think even Klassen started off similarly, he wasn't aggressive from the get-go. But once he got his eye in, he realized, okay, this is a good pitch to bat on. Hit through the line more often than not, you are going to be getting, if not clearing the rope, pick the gaps and you're good. Outfield is also good, even though it's funnily enough, a bit patchy. I saw quite a few players, there was, chunks of ground flying up, which I found very weird. Normally, Wankhede is a better track or a better ground than that. But, I mean, yes, I think the thing with South Africa too is they'll need wickets. No two ways about it. 400 is not a safe total in today's day and age, not on conditions like this. But of course, that's the thing. You get 2 wickets, and then the scoreboard pressure mounts considerably.
In fact, I like what Siddharth is saying. That felt like they were playing EA cricket, the 2007 edition. Remind me of L1 plus O. Yeah, you will go for that lofted shot
Every single time.
And I agree, Siddharth. It did really appear. You again, as a bowler, you really feel for all the English bowlers. But again, speaking more on the lines of how England have really performed with the ball, it's been rather timid. It's been a rather timid performance. Maybe they're actually now being tested on flat decks, and they've been found out, let's say, on these flat decks, and which is why you see them conceding the amount of runs that they conceded again. Did lack the penetration in that first game against New Zealand as well. That's what they've been guilty of today too. Again, not very impressed with the lines that the Pacers really stuck to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, and mind you, I will say this, that this is actually, it says a lot that this is actually an improvement on some of their recent bowling performances. I know the 400 does make it seem bad, but why I'm saying it's an improvement is because you had some degree of control in the middle overs. Willie was actually a better option in the middle overs than what Curran had been. He didn't get you any wickets, but he was not giving away runs. Curran was doing neither. Not getting you wickets, giving away plenty of runs. I think where the problem lies is that in these kind of tracks, now, previously in 2019, if you go back 4 years, England were maybe one of 2 or 3 teams playing the same style. Now a lot of nations have caught up. Yeah. Australia do also, kind of favor, let's say, aggressive batting on a flatter deck. South Africa favor the same thing. Now it's a case of England aren't the only ones doing that. So it's not just about them being found out, and also the fact that a lot of their key players from 2019, Wokes, Archer, either unavailable or just not playing well enough. That's another issue that has hampered them even today. If
Are they missing the captain more?
I mean, yeah, the captain was another one, by the way, because Morgan, inspirational leader, definitely knew how to utilize his resources. Yeah. But I don't think the captain's an issue. I mean, we can't question the man who did also end up winning a T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
And from a similar situation where they were like down and out.
But again, played very calculative cricket that day. I remember against Pakistan, you spoke so highly of the slam bang cricket that everyone's tried to ape as far as England are concerned. But none of that happened in that final against Pakistan.
I'll go one further and say they didn't do it against Sri Lanka either. T20 World Cup, remember, they needed to win that last game. And it was a very tricky wicket. So they said, no, we'll play a traditional cricket because it wasn't a big total. I think today, obviously, that's not going to be an option. But they do really need to maybe... It has to be calculated assault. I know 400 you think doesn't give you that option, but on batting conditions like this, that's how it will be.
My only fear with England is, and that's where I want to see how they approach this chase now. They're used to putting up such totals. One, I want to see them, define the way they look at these totals, what their approach, and what that, dressing room talk would perhaps be like when they're looking at such totals. Because what happens more or less, rather more often than not, when you're looking at such totals, and given the depth that England have, is that you try to take your chances. You take your chances saying that, okay, I've got someone to, fall back on. If in case it doesn't come off for me, you got a Stokes. Okay, Stokes might say, okay, if not me, maybe Livingston can do it. Livingston might then, okay, I can leave these runs and go for my shots. Let's say somebody like a Willie, let's say, who's playing today. So again, that's my fear, and that's where I want to see if they can really play some smart cricket as well. England today, that's going to be their test.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Normally, when you think 400, you're thinking, no, you need to be going all guns blazing. But you know, these are good batting conditions. So it's about calculating when and who to attack. And it's not like South Africa don't have bowlers who will give away runs. They do. In fact, that's one of the things we kept pointing out, that someone like Gerald Coetzee has been expensive. What's his name? Sorry, Lungi Ngidi, gets wickets, can be expensive, especially on, in fact, a ground like this. Small ground, nothing
There's
for
no
the
margin for error. As
Exactly.
far as bowlers are concerned, there's absolutely no margin for error over here. Slightly full, you get back to whatever corner of the park that the batter feels like. You go short, the ball's probably disappearing outside the stadium. So it's tough conditions, unless you got a very good Yorker, unless you got some very good variation, you're really gonna struggle today. And that's where somebody pointed about Rabada being good off late in the last two matches. I think it's Akash
Yeah.
who pointed out. I do agree, Akash, but having said that, again, today, if he doesn't get things right, because the others around him can only tend to be much more expensive. So the onus pretty much lies on Kagiso Rabada, and that's what we pointed out earlier as well. Sportsfan says that South Africa death bowling is a concern. Even the Netherlands exploited that in that match. Exactly. After all the inroads that South Africa had made, had literally Netherlands, down on their knees with 6 wickets down so quickly after those, those flurry of wickets that they got, conceding about 60 odd runs, allowing Scott Edwards to, get those runs towards the end. They were guilty of that, and of course they paid the price somewhere in that match as well. It was rain curtailed somewhere. The scoreboard also played a part in terms of adding pressure on South Africa, and I agree today also that could be the thing, because they've shown little, let's say, to give us belief at the moment that they're improving or they're getting better at the death.
Last one we'll take, and that comes from Shubham. It's a super chat. Says, how do you see the role of Keshav Maharaj? I think it's a very crucial role because, again, and I know he's not exactly someone who you expect a lot of wickets from, but if he can even be economical, I think it will build up a bit of pressure. I think that will be his role. But if any of the batters take a liking to him, then I do feel a bit sorry for them, because there's really no one else who can be economical in that lineup.
True.
So that is our analysis. By the way, phenomenal match to watch. It had everyone hooked. By the way, the newsroom, whoever was there, everyone was watching, and I think that's part of the point. Although I do feel sorry for bowlers in such circumstances. You're more often than not on a hiding on to nothing.
You're seeing plenty of more boundaries. So yeah, in case you do like that brand of cricket where there's
You're
just
getting
boundaries,
that.
where there's just boundaries and little for the bowlers being treated with disdain. Well, there's a second innings of that coming up.
Potentially. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this live. Please don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tap that bell, leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. Follow us on social media. Also download the Sports app, check out the website. For now though, tap the bell icon as well. And for now, from Harshit, me, bye bye.